Sanjay, for such a nice welcome and such a nice introduction. I'm really thankful. When you sit here and when I'm talking, it gives me great comfort that you understand what I say and don't misrepresent what I say. So thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely.
I like him very much, right from the day one I met him.
It's my pleasure, privilege, and her blessing. So, all of you just look at her. The only image that I'm sure all of us get looking at her is our mother. The kindness, the aura that she brings around, and when you interact with her, the way she touches your, life is nothing short of being a mother. So for me, she's my other mother.
Thank you once again. Namaste, everybody. See, around 10 years ago, I realized that just saying good morning, good evening is still working with a colonial mindset. So I decided I'm going to stop it. So since then, I'm saying namaskar or namaste because I'm trying to throw out everything which is anywhere near rooted in the colonial mindset, because colonial mindset is a slavish mentality and it does not give us back our creativity and our heritage which belongs to us, which really gives us so much freedom to be who we are. So, and again, I have to sit because as I in the morning said, 80 years old and my legs are kind of saying, you've stood enough for, I've taught 60 years standing. Sometimes for 6 days without, 6 days all alone. I can take a workshop, I could take a workshop for 6 days all alone with no papers. So my legs are saying now relax. If you want to run longer, you must rest your legs. So now I sit and give a talk. But I feel most comfortable when I'm standing. But if I have to be around for a longer period of time and share my thoughts, then I have to take care of myself. Now to begin with, half my work was done by Raju in the previous session about leadership. So I have prepared a slide, some PowerPoints, but that I will come to it later. But I'll begin with a story. I think this story I have said before, but it is so relevant to say how leadership emerges. So tell me, how does a story begin? Once upon a time. So I will begin my session with this story. I'm sure some of you have heard it, and I see some of my students around, they have definitely heard it. Once upon a time, far, far from here, but just around the corner, and long, long time ago, but just about yesterday, was a land. A land which was so beautiful and so comfortable that people loved living on this land. But like all lands, this land had a law. The law was that when any child, be that child a girl, be that child a boy, came of a certain age, he or she had to leave the land to discover who he or she was. For it was believed in the land that if the child did not go, the parents did not grow up, the child did not grow up, and everybody only kept looking at relating to the individual as a child. If the child did not grow, the child did not grow up. The parents, of course, did not grow up because they kept treating the child as a child and not as an adult. So they did not change their roles and the child did not change its role. So it became mandatory that every child had to leave. So on one such day, a child came of age and he had to leave his home. So like the tradition of the family, he took the blessings of the elders. He wished goodbye to all the relatives who were living there and the neighborhood which was around and started to walk. And he walked the whole day, and by duskfall came to the edge of the land. And there he was wondering, he saw many pathways in front of him, and he did not know which path he should take. So he started looking for somebody to ask where these paths went. But he could not find anyone because he was at the edge of his land, and it was getting to be a bit dark, it was getting to be a bit dusky. So he started stretching his neck to see if somebody was around. And then he saw a huge banyan tree, and under the banyan tree was sitting an old woman who looked like she was 500 years old. So he went to the woman and said, "Oh, wise woman, I have to leave this land today, and it is my day to leave, which there are so many roads in front of me, I do not know which road I should take. So could you tell me which road I should take?" So this wise lady said, "My child, I have been sitting here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and thousands of your kind have come and asked me this question. Now, if I tell you which road you should take, and you took that road, and a calamity befell you, you will say, 'What a horrible woman. She did not tell me the right road.' So what I will do, like I have always done, is describe the roads to you, and you make a choice." She said, "There is one road to the right, which is a very well laid out road. Hundreds and thousands of travelers walk on that road. And there are mileposts on the road, there are landmarks on the road, there are shelters along the way, and there are many co-travelers who will be with you. Some will tell you what to do, some will tell you what not to do, some will tell you what you should do, some will tell you what you should not do, some will tell you what is desirable, some will tell you what is not desirable, and you will have a lot of support and help in what to do and what not to do. And maybe in a year and a day, you will definitely reach your destination." So this is one road to the right. Then there are many roads in between, but there is one road, one side here, which is only a direction. Sorry, there are no roads at all. There is only a direction. Not many people take that road, because those who do take that road, and some who come back, all don't come back, some who come back tell many a strange tales about that direction. Some say they have encountered a huge swamp, and when they have tried to cross it, they have not been able to cross it, because the swamp is so bad, it just sucks people in. And so many people have gone down that they dare not go to that side. Some have said they have encountered a deep, dark, dense forest with such sounds of wild animals that everybody gets scared. And very few people have returned from that. Some said they have encountered a huge desert and never found an oasis. And they dared not walk that path, because if there is no oasis, they are afraid that they will die because of the heat of the sun. So not many people take that road. Some have said they have encountered a huge ocean with such high waves that nobody dared go on that side of the direction. So there is this direction and there is this road to the right, and in between there are many roads. You choose whatever you want to choose. But then she said, the only thing is that if you take the direction, the chances are you will discover a valley of flowers. You will walk and you will fall down, and you will have nobody to blame, and you will learn to get up and walk again. And if you take that direction, the chances are you will come across all the things which people had told you will help you, did not help you, and all the things which people said will not help you, helped you. So finally it is your choice which road you should take. Now the moral of the story is that the person who is a leader will always take the road which is least traveled. Now this is this, and therefore the leader, when goes on that kind of direction, he has to be aware of the larger environment which is around, because or at least have a sensing his intuition and his sensing has to be very appropriate to guide him, because there is nobody else to guide him. So he has to be self-reflective to understand what would work for him. Now, in an organization setting, now today's leaders have to be aware of the global environment. They have to be aware of the national environment. They have to be aware of their business and their other businesses in the global environment, because today there are many organizations who are ready to turn entrepreneurs into employees. Because there is one way of growth which is available today, is to buy up other organizations, like it is happening across the world. In America, like all the mom-pop stores are killed because a large giant comes and takes away all the business because of making it cheaper and all the business jargon which goes with it. So you have to be aware of the larger global environment and make sure that your business is not eaten up or gobbled up by a much larger giant. I have a nephew. He has a business which is one of its kind. So there was a Japanese firm which came to say, do you want to sell this? And then you can run it for the next few years. And of course, they'll give the very big salary and give a lot of big money to buy up that organization. But his father, who had started the business 50 years ago, said, on my dead body. So you have to be very aware which are the businesses who are eyeing your organization to buy it up. And the second is, if you are looking at the organization, business, people, technology. You have to be aware today of the technology. Today the technology aspect, everybody was talking in the morning also. Okay? It's very important of what kind of technology you are going to be using for your business. Now, leadership himself or herself may not know. See, I have a friend who has a business and it's pure technology. She makes radiators. And in 1996, she had a 6 crore of worth of business, and today it is going to become 500 crores. And she is running it very much aware of who is eyeing her business. And she says, okay, in another 5 years, I will sell the business, because then I don't want to work. Then I will do what I like, travel and do whatever. So the question is, okay, if you have a business and you are already in a leadership role, then you have to be aware that whether you want to continue with the business, and you have to constantly be kind of thinking whether you want to be in the business or you don't want to be in the business, or whether you want to work as hard and what is required to work in that business. A third kya hai? Leadership.
No.
Third point?
People,
technology.
Third one is positive energy.
Okay. There are 3 kinds of energies which are available for a leader. One is a free energy, and all of us have it. One is a captive energy, and one is a frozen energy. I have a paper on it a long time ago, because I was discussing with my husband, who is a scientist. So he gave me the concept of free energy. Then I developed the concept of captive energy and frozen energy of individuals. Now, free energy is that energy which gives you enormous amount of freedom to go do out-of-the-box thinking, to go out of the norms, to go beyond rules and regulations. Like when I started Flame, I made it into a 4-year program, and that was about 15 years ago. And the donors said, no, government says 3 years. I said, look, the government, we will run it for 4 years. The government would not even know about it for at least 10 years. By that time, our institution would be so good, nobody would have the heart to say, ki aisa nahi chalega. In fact, it happened that the new education policy has now made it to 4 years, undergraduate program. So you have to have the freedom, the energy to say, okay, I will take a risk, I will take a chance, this is a good idea for the people of the country, and therefore do it, and eventually you will be able to succeed quite well. The next is a captive energy. Captive energy comes from the do's and the don'ts and the shoulds and the should nots. right from childhood from our parents. And also from the society, which says you can't do this and you can't do that. Many of the times we are so caught up with the family's codings and the society's codings and the cultural codings, and they are so deeply rooted, it really takes away our positive free energy to be creative, to be innovative. And we have so many ideas people have, but they hesitate to act on it because of the do's and the don'ts and the shoulds and the should nots. And the frozen energy is around people and relationships. Because the codings are so deep that the people who have said certain things, their relationship is frozen in our minds. And sometimes it is very inhibitive. It becomes our own inhibitors. We start saying no to ourselves. We start saying no, not to do this, not to do this. And we think that the world is telling us not to do. But these are the codings we carry. Unless we take a look at those codings, we really cannot free ourselves. The 5 elements of leadership, which I'm going to now state, are the representative of the 5 elements of the cosmic universe. The cosmic universe is made up of 5 elements. Our body is made up of 5 elements. So I have translated that into 5 elements of leadership qualities. And this is in the context of life, our lifestyles, the whole life. It is in the context of society and social relations, and it is in the context of workspace, which is how we enter occupations and the choices we make of the occupations we finally land up into. Because we land up into occupations which we want or we don't want, depending upon how much we are guided and we are kind of pushed into it. And this happens by the children who grow up into 3 kinds of a culture. I'm sorry I'm giving a lot of concepts, but then only it will make sense what I'm finally going to say. There is a Ma culture, there is a mummy culture, and there is a mom culture. The Ma culture is very much an Indian culture which talks about relationship between a mother and a son, which is where the son is kind of reverent to the mother, very much respectful of the mother, very sensitive and empathic to the mother, and that son has a very positive sense of regard for women. There is a mummy culture. The mummy culture is a culture which has come from the colonial mindset, which mummy says you do this and you do that, and you do this and you have to be right, you have to be precise, you have to do everything on time, get up at certain time, dress in a certain way, go to school in a certain way, eat in a certain way, your knife has to be this way, your fork has to be this way. She is very appropriate and very correct. There is a mom culture which is very similar to American culture, which is the mom is the person who will take the child from one activity to another activity, whether the child is good at it, whether the child has an inclination towards it or inclination for it. Now, some of these mummy and mom culture will inhibit or make the energy, free energy of the child captive or frozen, depending upon how the relationship has gone in the childhood and then in the education system and then as the child has grown up. I have 5 minutes, so thank you. Now, a leadership who is finally comes at work as in a leadership position has to look at the free energy of the individuals in his organization, the quantum of captive energy in his organization, and the quantum of frozen energy in the organization. If the leadership can first take a look at his captive and frozen energy and free energy, and then look at the community or the collectivity of people who are there, and then do something about it to free the captive energy by certain ways of being a leader and certain ways of relating to people, then you will see an organization becoming exceedingly dynamic, or organization will start to decline. I'll give you the model of a declining organization and a decaying organization. These are the 5 elements, and you can do a kind of a matrix and do an analysis of individuals. And I have developed, after 7 years of research, on a leadership model which will give you a 9 to 12 page feedback or a horoscope about your leadership style on these 5 elements, on these 3 by 5 elements. These are available, so if you ask Raju, I'm sure he will give it to you. This one, yeah. See, if you have a leadership and who has free energy, will develop a dynamic organization, and the dynamic organization has certain qualities of how to be with people, how to be with the task, how to be with the technology, how to be with the growth of the organization, and what kind of investment, emotional investment you need to make in the people. So there are the organization, you have an individual, you have a collectivity, and you have an organization. And then these are the qualities which go into the dynamic organization. How the relationships are there in the organization, how the relationships are in the collectivity, how the tasks are carried out. And a leader who is just getting into the leadership role, if he can really be sure and be sensitive and be self-reflective of what is his free energy, what is his captive energy, what is his frozen energy, can really go into the creating an organization which is dynamic. Now, if the leadership is not aware, then the organization starts to go decline. It starts to become a decline, it starts to degenerate, and then it starts to stagnate. First it starts to stagnate, then it starts to degenerate. Now, one can almost pick out instantly what happens when the organization starts to decline. There are 3 symptoms which I've caught on very early. One is you see the medical bills of the organization. You will find that the headache pills demand becomes increasing. You have to look at the medical bills to see where the organization is going. You see, there was one CEO who said, very proudly says, we send all our people with heart attacks to America. So I asked him a question, but sir, how many heart attacks do you have? He says, last year we had 17, and we always send them to the US for treatment. But I said, 17 people having heart attacks in your organization, middle managers and senior managers, implies that you've had a problem in the organization. And generally, heart attack problems are because of the quality of leadership and how the leadership interfaces with the community. You also have a problem of headaches. People have either headaches or they have constipation because they cannot digest what is being given to them or what they are being asked to do. So if you look at the medical bills, the leadership will know that the organization is beginning to stagnate and beginning to decline. So you have to start picking up the cues of where the organization is going. And the dynamic organization cues will be, there'll be so many people wanting to come to your organization. It's like an academic institution where you have more admission applications than you want students. Like at IIM, once upon a time, used to get 4.5 lakhs applications for 120 seats. Now, that was a very dynamic institution at that time. Now they are getting 2.5 lakhs applications for 400 seats. So you can see there has been a change in the teachings of the institutions. You can actually predict and identify what is the quality of leadership which is operating at the top to see where the organization is going. So you have to always link leadership with people, and emergence of a leadership is that person who will be very much in demand. You can see there are so many different models which are emerging now. Earlier than that, earlier you had very archetype models of leadership which were the role models. But today if you see the political leadership which is emerging in the country, is so different than the people who were earlier. So that there is a transformation which is going on in the world, across the world, where leadership qualities are beginning to be changing, and the citizens of the country or the community of the organization is demanding, they want certain kinds of leadership to be able to be dynamic in an organization and contribute. So emergence of a leader also depends on the context, depends upon the transformation, depends upon the history, depending upon the culture, and depending of the young generation of what their ambitions and aspirations are, and what they are looking from, looking as role models of parents, or role models in the organization, or role models in the country. So finally, it's not just one quality or one, and if you do an individual analysis, out of the 5 elements which I had identified, which were the, what is the philosophical perspective, what is the role taking, what is the interface, what is the emotion, and what is the action. If you look at these 5 elements, you can find out which is missing and which needs to be added for leadership to emerge as dynamic leaders. So, well, given the time I have done this, this is available to you, so you can take it. There are 2 papers I have written. My book on leadership spaces is coming out in the next few months, so I shall let you know. I will have Raju open my book or launch my book in the next conference. I will have it ready. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.